it if I could find a time when I have the time to go through and undo all of the checklists and just really do it the way it should be done. Because sometimes I feel guilty just by sort of flipping on things and I'm not going through everything. I don't do Control E, but
Yeah.
I use my alpha to do all that, and it's like, dude, you're cheating.
Oh,
Kind of
come on,
don't.
don't say that.
You don't have to worry about that.
It just kind of feels like I'm cheating. Like, once in a while I should go through the whole shebang, and I don't. So it's like, okay, dude, you need to
I, I,
toughen up a little bit.
I hardly ever do. So,
Well, that's good. At least I'm not the only one then. I'm not a total Control E though. I can say that.
No,
Although I'm telling you, when the Concorde comes out,
you're probably going to be
I
shooting
am
your
not
way.
sitting there for an hour and 45 minutes. Flip this, flip that, do this, do that. Maybe someday, but the first time you get it, you just want to take off and you want to see what it looks like in the air. If it doesn't start with my alpha controls, I may have to. Yeah, I
Yeah,
may
no,
have
that's,
to.
that's understandable.
I have to say, at least I don't use Control E.
No, there have been a couple times when something is messing up, and it just like my peripheral, the alpha won't start it, or I'm clicking on it and it won't let me move it. So I'm having a lot of problem with the lights, and I think it's because somewhere I have something set that controls the lights other than the nav and the beacon and the strobe and all that, and I
I,
can't. I can't control the cabin lights. It's really weird.
I never
And
use I never use Control E, but it's just because I always spawn on the runway with everything running.
oh,
Oh, that
yeah,
could
that's
be.
true. That's true.
That's even easier.
Yeah, I could just spawn the Con. I think the Concorde is coming next week. As a matter of fact,
Yep, should be
the
about.
30th or the 31st, one of those 2 days.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
plan on
chat.
getting
We'll
it.
chat about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we have a nice, good trip today. I mean, some of it will be
All
a
right.
lower res, and then
Perfect.
I'll be able to make my argument about, please, could we just bring up the offline low res textures at least, so they're, it's the same old spiel. But I'm telling you, you'll see why. In that there are portions where it's not their fault. I mean, they don't have the data.
All right.
But
Let's
I
get on the runway.
okay, let's do our
Putting in.
greetings and
Yep. Let's
off
get
we go.
ourselves started. Welcome, guys. Nice to hear familiar voices, seeing familiar names. Hey, Augusto. Little group today, but we're going into a warm place, which honestly I love.
Hola, muchachos and muchachas.
Actually, yeah, I just bought an airport.
Oh,
That's one of the ones that's close to where we're landing.
oh,
Oh,
nice.
That last island
great
before it.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, it's
You
going
know,
to be perfect.
the last island is the scene. If I remember this plan correctly, the last island is the scene of the gigantic
Oh, right.
747 debacle. If I'm
The
correct,
worst accident
the
in
worst, yeah,
airline
ever.
history. The
And guess
two
what? It happened a couple of days from now.
Yeah,
oh
40, what,
wow.
50, 45 years ago. In like three
it's
days? Or
Now we're
shoot,
not.
sadly.
yeah.
It wasn't that long. Boy, I'm getting old.
Is 77? Yeah, I know. I was just thinking, wait a minute, it can't be that old because I'm not that old. It was, oh yeah, yeah, you're old, dude. I just keep,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
keep
because
forgetting.
I remember when that happened. That it was like two
I do too.
747s.
I was a little kid, and I remember my mother just like looking in horror, and she's like, "This is why I don't fly." She did fly a little bit, but this is why I
And I
don't fly. And I'm
Sad,
like,
sad, sad.
and
well, we're gonna see it when it's much more
Well,
beautiful now, and yeah.
get on the runway.
Oh,
And not that
I'm just.
taxiway thing.
Oh yeah, you like that? The taxiway
It's
that was really a bike path.
when that accident happened, the pilot from the KLM
Oh,
plane,
yep, he was
uh,
impatient.
they were actually looking for him to come to be an investigator of this
Oh
flight
my
accident,
God.
and at first they didn't realize
Well,
it.
he was on all the posters. He was on
Yeah,
all the posters for
yeah,
KLM
he was the face of
as like the
KLM,
goat. Yeah, the face of KLM. God. But
and
he was,
he was the main flight
yeah,
instructor and
yep,
safety checks and all
amazing.
that, and he was the main guy for the airline.
Yeah,
all
we'll be
right.
able to really dive into that as we go along. And but today it's going to be a beautiful, if you have the weather we have, beautiful sunny day, and I think we should go. Wanna
It's a
go?
perfect time to
Let's
take
go.
off. Doing a slow rollout here. Let's
I
get
love all these
started.
otters that I'm seeing here. The Solomon Islands, nice.
Yeah, I think we enjoy the Twin Otter so much that
It's really
it's like
fun.
almost an exclusive Twin Otter flight.
Yeah, it's like the Kodiak is to me. Is that every time I sit down now, it's like I
You
just want to
just
use
want
it.
it. You just want it.
Yep.
It is a great plane, and we did a little stream last weekend, right?
Yes.
And you explored this plane. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's great. I love the way it handles. It's got it's kind of got the right weight to it. It feels a little bit heavier than what I'm used to flying. The sounds, if they were bad, I think they're pretty good. You explained to me the hydraulic pump sound where people thought it was the flaps coming up like so much later or whatever, but it's not.
Mhm,
So I just like it. It looks good. It feels good. It sounds good.
mhm. Yeah.
It's fun to
Uh,
fly. It's
You're
are
gonna
we
have
looking
to.
at here to go
uh,
around this mountain? You did say you wanted to look
yeah, I would
to
say go a
this
little bit
island.
left and gain some altitude just so you can have a look at some of the volcanoes because they're I remember right now. It's been a long time because I flew over this in the world flight,
Yep,
but I'm pretty sure. And some of them are higher res than others. So as we come to each island, um,
we'll
if
get to
you yeah,
experience
if you
different
don't have
islands.
altitude, make sure that you gain some altitude eventually so that you can
Yeah, get
enjoy
this map
the
loaded.
view.
Yes, we got all the islands here pretty much covered, so we'll be able to
Yeah,
explore each and every single one. But yeah, this place is beautiful. Look at that.
yeah.
And I wish it was as warm as it is here. We're still in freezing temperatures here in
Oof,
Toronto, so
not in
it's
Florida, right? Right,
yeah.
Captain. We are we're nice and
80,
toasty today.
82 degrees right now.
Yeah,
Oh wow, insane.
I had 83 or 4, so we're
Yeah, I mean, like yesterday, it was like it's not hail, but it was like little pellets of ice that kept, accumulating. So it was a really strange
jeez.
sight. But yeah, like this is why right now, like this would be my dream right now, being somewhere warm, nice. You get the beach, you get the nice ocean, um, and kind of a really beautiful place just to relax. That would be
I'm gonna
awesome.
take a look
Hence why
and
we're doing
see
this.
exactly where. Oh, am I wrong? And this island is one of them that doesn't have it. Oh no, stupid
What is it?
me.
Look at this. It's like a big plateau that kind of
Yeah, this one is more
rises.
the it has like a plateau. I'm thinking that this has the crater. It's a little further down. This has got the plateau, but still, the plateau is pretty cool looking, isn't it?
Oh, it's yeah,
Very
Well,
it's
it's
scenic.
it's a
it's
set
still
of
a nice place.
volcanic islands, right? So,
Yeah, we'll see plenty of them as we go. It's just I have two flight plans, and I think I have them because they're
oh,
in
mixed up.
reverse. Yeah, they're in reverse. One goes a different way. Forgive
Oh,
me, I
This
that's
have
why.
a few hundred. Wow, this is quite a drop off here. Look at
I
that.
Oh,
don't.
this.
I,
I think you
I,
could jump off of this as a
Yeah,
paraglider
base
trip,
jumper. Or,
or
yeah,
yeah.
wow. Yeah, this looks.
is this a cloud over here that's on one of these
Yeah,
mountains, or you think it's smoke coming out of a volcano?
wow, this really looks. I'm surprised.
Who
I
knows?
don't.
Maybe it's the volcano that's just about to explode.
Yeah, this is quite
That'd
nice.
be that'd be funny.
What a view.
It
When you
is.
come
It
off
is.
over that plateau and it just drops away to the sea, it's like it's almost reminds me of Hawaii in a
Now
way.
it's funny because this area, right? This all of these Canary Islands were formed by volcanic
Oh yeah.
eruptions. And four of them had active eruptions, since the 14th century. So the most recent
Wow.
one was Tenerife's Mount Tide in
No,
1909.
we
So
have the one Las Palmas. That's the
mhm.
one that was blowing up here about 6 months ago. We're actually going to
Oh,
come
was
to
there
that.
one? I did
Yeah,
not know
remember
that.
the one that they kept showing on YouTube, and they were thinking they're going to have to evacuate most of the island, and there was a German guy on YouTube that was showing nightly. I think it's Las Palmas. Let me look at the name of the island to make sure I have the name right. Yeah, it's the next one, La Palma. Sorry, Las Palmas. Yep, the next island
Yep,
that
La
we're coming
Palma.
to, that's going to be. There was
Oh,
within the last 6 months, and I mean it was really, really erupting.
So it's the Roque de las Muchachos
Yes,
that's down there.
I
Okay,
believe
so
so.
that's our next one then.
That's our next one. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I
oh, this is
gotta.
very nice island.
It is. I'm quite pleased. Um, gotta sort of hook off here a little bit. I'm trying to get my map to. How do I do this? I'm still learning, so. Well, you know what? I don't need to. Let me look outside, and where's the island? All you
It's
got
going
to
to be
do,
a
you
little
can see it in the
difficult to
distance.
even visualize too much because the island is to our right. I think we should start heading north.
Yeah.
But there's not too much to visualize here.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
do
be
have little bits
careful.
over the water to
Yeah,
get
let's be
to, but
careful with the altitude. I mean,
yeah.
it looks like it might be far, but it's really not that far. We're talking, less than 50 nautical miles here. So it should be fine.
As long as you have altitude and you can see the really cool craters, and then you're going to have to descend pretty quick, but it'll be okay. It'll be fun.
No worries
See,
on
am I
that,
actually
yeah.
flying the right way? I'm not. How quaint. We're right.
Yeah, actually, if you want to do best, you need to go like heading 010. You'll be pretty much in the right direction.
Okay, yep, that's what I'm doing now.
Doing the same here. So what's nice is this plane is great with the autopilot. It's very simple, so you really can't mess it
Oh,
up
yeah,
that
I haven't
much.
even tried to set the autopilot, so
Yeah.
let me
I mean, right
stop at
now I need
7,500
to...
feet, I think.
Yeah, I'm at 77, so
So let's do that.
I'm going to lock at 77. The autopilot and set myself on a heading 010, and that should be fine to get up here.
Oh,
So
I'm at my altitude already, so it's a
beautiful.
good choice. So let's
Look at
just do
that.
that. Let's turn on the navigation and see what it does.
Wow. So like most of you guys are actually flying the Twin Otter. We have a Kodiak, Silver Eagle, and a TBM from SSSS Trade.
Yeah, we have to convert that
Yeah,
Silver Eagle.
Yes.
yeah,
Silver
I'm
Eagle.
definitely glad I got it.
Kodiak
It's
is an
great.
awesome plane,
It
but I
sure is.
think the Twin Otter is kind of a competition to that plane because, well, actually, I guess each have their little strengths,
Yeah.
but they're both within the same type of planes and capabilities. Like I feel the Kodiak could probably land on smaller runways because it takes longer for the Twin Otter to ramp up and take off, so it needs a little more runway.
It's got a bit of a better range to it. If you need to maybe do some more distance over water, I think it's got something like an 1150
Oh, okay, yeah, I don't think we can.
nautical miles here or there. But like you said, it's a plane for different they can kind of overlap each other, but then there are certain things like we don't have a float variant, or I don't know if there's an amphibian variant of the Kodiak in real life.
It's supposed to come out later.
Is it just a float or is it also an amphibian? Do you know?
I
I
assume
don't.
it'll be amphibian, but I don't know.
That'd be nice. I
Okay.
really like amphibians. I flew the what was it? The Grand Caravan amphibian that was in Flight Simulator 9, I think, if I'm
Oh
picturing it
wow,
right. I flew it constantly because
yeah,
going
that's
up the
quite a
British
plane.
Columbia coast, you've got a lot of short runways, but then again, if you couldn't make it, you could always do a water landing. So I just like the versatility of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, Flying Cookie, I actually have the Otter. I was going to give this plane a test drive on a flight. I actually, so far, like the Otter better than I do this Cody.
I prefer this over the Kodiak.
I
I've
can't.
I think it's kind of a sad moment for the Kodiak because it is a great plane, but the
Oh
Twin Otter
yeah,
just
I love it.
steals it. Um, Now, I do have to say that the Twin Otter, doesn't have the same range, right? Like I've been doing 300, 400, maybe 500 nautical mile trips, but barely more than
Yeah.
that before you really need to be solid at, fuel optimizations. On top of this is a plane that needs a little more runway, right? If you want to take off for land, you're looking at like
Yeah, the Kodiak will.
in the manual they say 1100 feet. You can do it in less with
I think the
some
Kodiak
flap
has a little bit
skill.
more power to its engine, obviously, because it's a little bit lighter. And I also think that, like, if you're in the mountains and you're having to get down very quickly and get out very quickly, this does work, but it needs slightly more runway. So I think you can cater it or tailor it to what kind of flying you intend on doing. But yeah, it's such a now that I've flown it 3 or 4 times. I'm
Well,
like,
I mean,
wow, I like it
look
almost.
at it, right? This is
Yeah.
also a cargo plane more than a Kodiak, right? Because the Twin Otter has a lot of storage or people
Well, yeah,
space.
it can, you know, it does carry freight, the Kodiak, but obviously, I mean, this should have a bigger payload, right?
This has a bigger payload, I believe. And actually, that's quite useful in some situations if you use, career softwares or services as part of the flight simulation experience.
Yeah,
You get
I
a lot
have
of
to
stuff
admit,
you get
I
much
took too
quickly.
long to buy this one. It's really
Well, it's
great.
fine. It's even better because you got time to appreciate the Kodiak first before appreciating the Twin
Oh
Otter.
yeah, I
So,
love the Kodiak's. One thing I do love about the Kodiak is you can use the reverse without plummeting straight to the ground, for kind of like what the Pilatus does,
mhm.
where you can put it into beta to literally on purpose to lose altitude.
Yeah,
And I
that's
kind of
true.
like that feature. But this one, boy, if you put the reverser when you're at any altitude above maybe 50 feet, you're gonna be sorry in about 2 seconds. So because it
I
gets you.
watched one land that way at about, the pilot was floating down the runway a little bit, got about halfway down the runway and said, "Uh-oh, it's a short runway." Put it into reverse and just dropped in. He stopped in about 10 feet. I mean,
Yeah, it's amazing.
he probably was saying, "Oh, didn't really need to do that," but it felt like it.
Wow, that's insane.
I just had some clouds pop in. That was different.
Yeah,
Maybe we're in the
there is a
METAR
mix.
range. Yeah,
There's probably a
Far,
mix, yeah, between METARs and the weather
yeah,
itself.
far out. Did you
yeah.
make this flight plan something somehow different, where it shows
Mm,
different on the map?
I I don't think so.
Let
In
me.
what way different?
I don't know. Maybe some option that it's installed different that I have turned on. That at all the waypoints I
No.
have these green circles. Some have they're like green circles with a white like pie, and like Las Palmas has like a 3/4 of a white pie inside a green circle.
Maybe you have the airspace turned on in your little nav
No,
map.
no, this is right next to the airport in La Gomera.
Is this on the
It,
VFR map or Little Nav
What?
map?
Yeah, which map are you?
I'm sorry, little nav map.
Yeah, you might have something turned on that is a filter. Because you can turn on things like airspace, waypoints,
Yeah,
VORs, NDBs.
Send a
You may have
screenshot.
something.
Send a
it,
Yeah,
screenshot in the event text because it's difficult to explain those kind of things.
maybe he
Uh,
has
Little
some
Nav
kind
map
of
is
airspaces
pretty
turned on or
complex.
something. No, no. I'm trying to do it now myself, but
I
let me
don't know. It's
see.
really it's a bit on the strange
Yeah,
side.
no, I don't. On
But send
mine,
a
I don't see
screenshot
it,
and
but it could
we'll try
be.
to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll try to figure it out. How close are we to? I'm
I still
just.
got a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
gonna adjust a bit my heading here so that
Okay.
we get more on the other side of the island. We'll want to go. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind going between the two peaks of the island here.
did you say in the text chat?
Event text.
Event text just above where we're all located.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to do it in Twitch. I'm like, didn't work.
Nah,
I
it's
have
not
a
gonna work.
stupid question, Cookie.
Yep, go
I
for it.
want to adjust the map here on the display in
Yeah.
the cockpit, and I'm trying to. Is it?
Are you trying to go right or left, up and down?
Oh,
Because
I
that's
just.
not really gonna work.
Yeah, that didn't
You
work.
can use the ring, like the up and down arrows, to zoom in and out.
Ah, that's what it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring those, and I was trying to turn the dial, and I'm like, that's not going to work. Sorry. Yeah, I
Well,
think this is the definitely the La Palma volcano that was blowing up in the last 6 to 8 months. So you might want to take a look at the caldera up there before you land.
yeah. I mean, I was looking earlier at some information about what was happening with the Canary Islands over its history, uh, and like there's a lot of things. Of course, like the bigger island. I think it's the fourth island we're going to visit today. Um, is the one that has most of its history. But these islands were actually the ones that hosted some of Christopher Columbus's stops. Like he did some stopovers here um, on his way to the Americas. So it seems like
Yeah, it makes sense. It's one of the last land masses that they knew of before
so
venturing out.
essentially they had a base, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah,
you could stop here, refill, and so it's funny because when you look at its history and its culture, you see some influences from this. Um, so there's some parallels that can be found in the architecture and accents with the modern day Latin America, which is really neat.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of history here.
it's just amazing to see, that cultural thing. I thought that was kind of a neat thing, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I mean, it's not that different from like other islands. Like just like Hawaii, it has its own microclimates. So you go from a desert to like a lush rainforest in
Yeah.
mere seconds, right?
Yeah.
Just climb a
The
bit,
rain
and
the
you
rain patterns
switch.
totally change in one small location. It's amazing how much it can change just based on typical weather patterns, how it can change one island to the next. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's
just
strange. I'm trying to put something in there, and it just says that I can do slash commands.
Oh, did you put a picture in the event text?
I tried to, but I can't.
it doesn't say upload a file if you click on the plus.
No, that's a strange thing about it. It doesn't, and then it tells me if I try to do something, it just says use slash command. You just use slash command that I've never.
How about if
never,
you do a copy paste?
Okay,
I
wait,
did.
what about
it won't
now?
either.
Try again now.
Oh, there you go. That yeah. Now it's there. Hold on.
I changed the channel permission. We'll be able to see that.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, look at that.
I
There's
didn't do
POI down there.
the entire screen, but look at the islands. That little green circle is what I'm talking about. That I've never seen that in a little map before. So maybe I turned
haven't
on
seen
some
it.
option.
I don't see it yet.
Probably uploading. So let's see.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it helps if I hit
Yeah,
enter.
what is that?
That's
I've
I
probably
have
never
no
seen.
idea what that is. Oh,
I've
that's
never-
wind. That's wind bars. Do you see at the bottom where it's got the little wind? If you go to, hold on.
See, but the one La Palma does not have the wind bar, and it just has
Well, it's based on the
green circle.
altitude. It's based on the altitude. So maybe the wind bar means it's down at ground level, ground only. Nope, that didn't do
I don't
that.
know, because the third one to the right
Nope.
has like a quarter pie inside the green, and doesn't
See, mine
have
doesn't
any
show the
wind.
green. It just shows the.
Do
It
you
just shows
have
the.
a wind source? If you click at the top on Little Nav Map, you have this menu called Weather. You have an airport weather source for this. Should be set to Microsoft Flight Simulator, or I think it just says Flight Simulator in there.
Actually, it's at the NOAA.
Okay, well, you can either change that, disable it, and I think that I'm not sure if that's the one, because there's a lot of tools here. Let's see.
Yeah,
Otherwise-
that turned it off. But the other day I was flying, and I had it on, and I was getting a bunch of errors, and it said for some reason I couldn't download NOAA.
Yeah, I got that all the
stuff.
time.
So I went ahead and I changed
well, that's
it
when you
to
lose
NOAA.
internet connection usually.
I switched it to NOAA, and I've had it on NOAA, but I hadn't noticed that circle because I think this is the first
Oh,
time
it's the wind.
that I
we know.
yeah.
You know what? I
But
want to
only
verify.
when you're on NOAA.
Cookie, I want to
Okay.
verify that volcano just to make sure I'm thinking of the right one. Hold on 1 second.
You're probably thinking of.
I thought it was this one, but now I'm looking at it. I'm like, this may not be. Yeah, it says La Palma. Yeah, it is La Palma. It's the one that was recently erupting.
Okay. Because otherwise, there's Mount Tate that we're going to go through in just a minute. Well,
Yeah,
just a minute.
It erupts for 6 days. It was 5 months ago, and I'm looking here.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's La Palma. It's the right one. Okay. I'm gonna say, am I losing my mind here? But it's right there to our. Well, where are you in relation to me?
Well,
It's
in front
right
of the
ahead of
island
you.
right now.
Yeah, it's dead ahead. So if you look to the right, that gigantic
The back,
area there is. Yep,
the left side, right?
the left side. Yep.
Yeah. Man.
I think touch and go. Yeah.
Yeah, we can go touch and go. I feel like it's
we
fair
have.
enough.
Yeah,
for
we'll have
us.
to make our way through some of the. Because we'll have chunks of it over water, but time-wise, we'll have to manage it well. Otherwise, it could go
The
pretty
Gepo
late.
or the Jepo is saying in Twitch chat, Canary is our favorite tropical destinations for us Europeans, like the
Yep.
Caribbeans for Americans. That is true. That is
Yep,
very
it's-
true.
It's close.
It's it is, and I mean, imagine with low cost air carriers, it must be
Yeah,
quite a way to
EasyJet or
get
something
here.
like. Might go there, maybe.
It must be, or even just
Yeah.
Ryanair. Some of these areas must be full of tourists.
At least when you fly Ryanair, you know when you've landed. Bang lets you know.
Even if you're asleep, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll be awake. Boom.
Don't worry, we'll let you know as soon as we land.
I like a guy to the right of us, this gangsta goat. That's a nice name.
Oh, gangsta.
Gangsta goat.
I like that.
Fellow
Gangsta goat.
Yeah, we have a fainting
But is
goat
he a
and
goat or is he
gangsta
the greatest of all time? That is the question.
You're making it difficult now.
Well, it's my job to throw in a banana peel once in a while. Just quietly looking at all these gauges, trying to figure out if anything's amiss.
A Jepo or Gepo. Well, it really depends, right? On fuel optimization. If you just want to go full ham, you can reach 170. If you want to be a little more fuel economical, you'll probably be in the 150s, sometimes even 146 knots, and then you won't be using as much fuel. But yeah, usually in the 150s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You're able to go a lot faster than me flying Cookie. I was like topped out at indicated 140. It was like 146 ground speed with the wind, but
I have 12 knots of headwind, so that's a little strange.
Yeah, I don't have my throttles fully forward. I'm at 1.
yeah, I just put them full
40.
forward, all the
Let's see. I'll go full
temperatures in
forward,
the
too.
red, and I could
Oh,
only
geez.
manage 140.
Yeah, that's maybe weather related, because you could
Yeah,
easily
we could be
reach
picking up
170
some
full throttle.
headwinds. Yeah, because I've just put them full forward and I'm at
And what
150.
I'm doing like 165.
Yeah, I mean, I slowed down because I'm starting to descend here for the
Yeah.
airport, and the Gepo here is stealing some of my fun facts already. GG. He's saying that the Teide volcano is the highest peak in Spain, actually. That is totally true.
Wow.
In fact, it's the whole Spanish territories at 1,198 feet. So yeah, this thing is higher, even higher than the Pyrenees. So
12,000 feet, correct?
12,198
Yep.
feet.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
like almost 3,700 meters if you're into the metrics. It's
Not
quite
bad.
high.
I mean, some of the data they have for some of the islands is pretty good. Some of it's a little bit less because maybe when they gathered it was cloudy or whatever, so the sim is having to add some default stuff to it. But for the most part, it's
still really good for what it is. Like you
Yeah.
can totally see, like the elevation of it is like the elevation map is fine. Like we don't.
Yeah.
We could get more sharpness out of some of these things, but it's better than what we've seen in certain areas of the simulators. So hey, I think it's still worth it for what it is.
I realized what the problem is with my plane. I have that realism mod installed that got pulled from FlightSim.2, and I didn't realize it must have a huge effect on the speed. I meant to remove it, and I never did.
That
Another-
could be a reason.
Another thing that I've noticed sometimes that I have problems if you forget to bring your flaps all the way up.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
I just check now to make sure that I haven't been flying around with them down. Thank goodness.
No, I've done that several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept checking that because I couldn't get my speed up, but yeah, I just realized what it is.
Well, glad
Or
you
what I
found out.
think it is.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, we got a couple of minutes ago. Well, a little more than a couple of minutes, but we got the last development update for today, March 24th, 2022, which is great because sometimes we have to wait a little longer for it. Seems like most of the stuff here is great. Mostly, celebrating the release of World Update 8 for Iberia, which I don't know if you guys have downloaded yet.
Yes.
As far
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you have, right?
Yep.
Did you check it out yet, or?
I didn't have a chance actually. I am fresh to
Yeah.
it at the moment.
I only took a
Nice.
quick, little
Jeez.
peek just to see what it was like. It looked beautiful, but I really myself didn't get a chance yet as well. And we didn't want to put this flight plan as the World Update 1 because, well, people don't always have the time to update, so we want to do one of those, maybe we could do it next week or something once everyone has the world update downloaded. I think that would make a
Yeah,
lot more sense for everyone.
I did it this morning because then I was talking to some guy a little while ago, and he was complaining about how slow the download was.
It was a little bit slow, but I also had my VPN on, which tends
I
not to
I,
give me as good a speed. So
I hit it at 10:30 this morning, and I guess at that time not too many people were on because it
Yeah,
downloaded pretty quick for me.
I mean that's the unique factor with this, right? This world update was actually released earlier, much earlier, more in line with the European times rather than the North American times. So instead of coming at 11 my local time, it arrived at 5 in the morning. So it was pretty much moved up pretty significantly by 6 hours.
That's which I think it's really good. I prefer it that way.
Well, it makes more sense for those in Europe, and especially for the world updates in Europe. I feel like that's a fair bet. Um,
And even for us here in the U.S., not having to wait till so
that
late.
was kind of nice not to have to.
Especially us retired ones, we can get up in the morning and not be waiting around. We can download it right
I actually
away.
forgot. I was like, oh,
that is
it's
so true.
sooner than I thought.
All right, back in the air here. I'll circle up around while you guys coming in. It's
Yeah,
it's also funny because it's like you wake up and you can just turn on your computer and start the update. It was a bit strange not to have to wait. Have to say.
sure.
Must spread out the load a little bit that way too.
Well,
You'd
it
Yeah,
think.
felt like
that
it was a
too.
little rough for the employees because I think it was like 3 in the morning for people at Microsoft. So I felt bad for like the community manager that needed to stay awake, and for the teams that were deploying this or monitoring the update. Um, it was a early or a late kind of work day for them. I'd say that. But in the end, yeah, I feel like it was pretty solid. Now I'm not sure if all of the world updates are controlled, or world and sim updates are really fully controlled by Asobo, Microsoft, or a mix. Um, but it is usually related directly to the stores, so Steam and Microsoft Store. Usually, I feel like that would be made by Microsoft, but I could totally be wrong, and it could be Asobo. That's one of the things I have no clue.
It looks like they have a jet blast panel at the end of this runway.
Hey, a
I mean,
quick question. Are y'all in Sim flying together or somewhere else?
yes, we are.
Whereabouts? Can I jump in?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
So we just finished our first leg, and we got quite a few more. So you're free to join. The event forum thread is in the event text, so you can go click on that link, and you'll be able to get all the information, the flight plan, the speeds that we're at. If you want to get some kind of plane that differs from the Twin Otter, the Kodiak, or the TBM, those are three good options.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, let me check it out, and hopefully I will join you all shortly.
Very good.
You'll like it.
Yep. If you just want to see what's happening on screen, we're also on Twitch right now, playing Cookie 6508. Oh,
Yeah, okay,
man,
let me check it out.
look at
Yeah, I've been
this.
meaning to ask you, Cookie, why the '08 on Twitch and not on Flight Simulator?
Because Flight Simulator doesn't have enough characters.
Ah,
It sounds stupid, but they actually did not have enough
12. Yeah,
space.
it's 12. It's not max of 12, I think.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to have people with like this old system where people kept putting like big and small X's around their names. So that
Yeah,
they'd still have their own username and just big X, small X, name, small X, big X, or patterns like that. They didn't want people to have that. I'm surprised though by the quality of this airport. Like
Yep.
the buildings are fine, but like the taxiways, like the sides here, it's pretty solid.
one thing that I noticed on the updates, they mentioned that they had added, I think it was like 6 handcrafted airports. And in the past, if you go to your contents, you could find those updates. And today, for some reason, those 6 airports they mentioned were not there
So it's possible that they've started integrating the world updates into fewer packages
into the base. They're probably
because
putting them on the base or something.
I don't know, but they probably started consolidating because in the end their goal is to remove world updates from the Windows Store and Steam updates themselves.
Oh
So
no, Stray.
So when you get an update, you have to go through the Windows Store, Steam first, and then get in the sim. They want to remove that first step. So that's probably a partial thing, because the Q&A yesterday they did say we can't. Well, they reaffirmated this, that you can't get any kind of beta started or other updates to the simulator if you've already planned a world update. So you'd have to wait. It's kind of like a train, right? Each cart has something, and you have to go in order for you to get to your content. So the store will have to wait for the world update first to be done and pushed before it could get something else. So yeah, it's a little wonky. So they're just trying to split off from that to make it easier for
Yeah, I
everyone.
saw a few
That's
people
good.
that had commented in the forum. They're like, "Oh, it's like 4 different things. It's convoluted." And I've been guilty of complaining a little bit in the past too. So it would be great if they could
Well,
sort
with
of
reason.
simplify the procedures, or maybe automate it so that when you choose like mandatory update, and then it could say world update, and you put a check, or maybe it just comes that way with world update checked off, the
Right.
mandatory checked off, the store, if they can't hide it, then just check it off, do it in the background, something to that effect, so that when you click update, it just updates. You don't have to go to 2 or 3 or 4 different places in order to just get the update. Or
Yeah,
if there's, kind of like the custom or express install that you see on so many products, maybe they could give you the option of a custom, and then you could uncheck, maybe you don't want the world update.
It is
But
a lot.
yeah, I think an
I agree.
express install would be, especially when you have a lot of people coming over from the gaming world, of course, it's probably unusual to them, because you can see quite a few of them, like, we did the world update, but you remember with Paris, a lot of people were like, but I don't really see anything. And it's like, no, you have to go into the content manager, and you also have to download the update. Like, yeah, but I thought when I was updating that it's that. So I
It's
think
yeah.
that,
too
I
many
don't know why
steps.
there's so many different things. And like I opened the sim this morning and it said go to the Microsoft Store.
I
I went to the
forgot, of
Microsoft Store.
course.
That opens the
Usually.
Xbox app. Like, why are there so many steps? Then you content
Yeah.
manager and the marketplace.
Well,
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
if it's
lot of
loading
steps.
the Xbox app, it's because you probably don't have the gaming services running. So by opening the app, they force those gaming services to
Well,
run.
there's an update on the gaming services, which I am
And
hoping
yes,
will help with the problem that I've been having with gaming services, which is, for whatever
freedom,
reason, yeah, we're streaming, and if I don't hit fix it, my sim will stay frozen.
which is very
Yeah,
sad.
it's frustrating.
It's a big pain. I get it. It's
So I'm hoping that whatever they did,
they also did an update to the store itself for Microsoft Store. That's something else I noticed.
okay,
I mean, like
Oh, and it has a bug too. Well, the last update I think, was a bad update where they
they must have
separated
had a
things.
lot of bugs.
And
But like,
then
don't
this time,
forget, right? They're stuck with it because
yeah,
the store is a very slow, piece of software to get updated, and Microsoft has quite a, they, of course, it's use the tech stack, use the current stuff that we have. It reduces our cost and it makes things easier. Not true on the easier side, but it does
right.
reduce cost. But it also means that for big use cases like Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is bigger than we think internally within Microsoft, there's new use cases that we didn't really think of before on how the sim is used with other services within Microsoft.
I
So
also kind of
it's
think it also
huge.
might be a way of, how do I put this? I get the impression that when a company really wants to make their entire universe, so to speak, around a certain thing, they
Ecosystem.
steer they steer yeah they steer everything through the ecosystem, so that eventually down the road you're so
Right.
used to it that the old way would seem strange. But it's kind of like with the Kindle with Amazon. They created a specific tablet, but which works quite well. I have a Kindle Fire for audiobooks and stuff, but it's really meant to be a portal to shop. That's why the tablet is so cheap. But everything you do that involves your tablet, of course, involves Amazon, and you have to go through Amazon to do certain syncing and certain things that you have to do. So they're trying to get you into the ecosystem so that you're so familiar and used to it that then everything you decide to do, I want to buy, I want to look, I want to browse, you're going to do it through that. You're going to think to go there first, not to somewhere else. So I think they're sort of trying to close the rank, especially for people like me. I'm a little older and I didn't do a lot of gaming through the Microsoft Store.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like they maybe will capture some of these people because we have to go through it. And while you're going through it, you might, oh, what's that I'm, because if I didn't open the store, I'm not going to see any of the games or anything they're advertising, right?
Yeah.
So maybe
Well,
they kind of want it to go through there, but maybe they could show it while it's loading or something. While it's updating, show that store image and put the loading in the background or something, so you still get to quote see the shop, so to speak, but it's automated. I don't know if that's possible. I'm probably talking out my backside, but I just have this feeling that part of what they're doing is to make everything revolve around the store and Xbox because they want this ecosystem to congeal together and include everything, and I think it's part of the plan.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a long-term strategy as well, right?
Yeah,
Because they do believe their systems are going to be running. They still believe, that Bing Maps is going to be relevant in 10 years, and the gaming services, the Windows Store, like that's what they're building all their things around.
Did you notice something in the Q&A that it was one little sentence that Jorg said that sort of made me look up? I was working at the same time while I was listening, and I think it was when he was speaking about Italy and Malta, and he mentioned that there's new Bing data, but that it's current data, and that of course it's a goal of theirs to bring up the Bing data all around. But in this, if I'm not mistaken, Cookie, you might know, was it in relation to the Italy and Malta where he mentioned that this data we're getting is 2021? Somebody specifically mentioned the year.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
I thought, oh,
it was a very weird wording, I
yes, I
have to
remember.
say.
Yeah, it was kind of odd, but they mentioned the year, and I thought he's letting us know that yes, while we keep saying we're getting Bing, this is actual brand new.
So the way he said was the way this data works is we're not doing, we're not taking data from earlier years, and then he said not 2021.
Oh,
He
not
said
2021.
not,
Okay, sorry.
but
Yeah,
and this
I
really
thought he
confused
said,
me
so I
as
missed
well,
it.
because
Okay.
even though he said 2021,
Yeah, but
and
I
he
might
did
have just
say,
didn't hear the word not, so that
I know,
changes
but
my argument.
that's the strange thing. It almost sounded like he said both things at once.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
might
a
have
little
just snapped
unclear
my
on
head
that.
up at the sound of 2021, thinking, "Oh, they've got data
Mhm.
from last year." So,
Essentially, his thing was saying, hey, World Update 8, Iberia, World Update 9, Italy, Malta. We're not giving you old stuff. We're giving you new stuff. And
but how
because this
new
is
is the relevant question? I would imagine.
exactly, and it's not something for previous years, not 2021. I think that's what I really wanted to say, but then the way he kind of used his words kind of confused me a little bit, so it was a little weird. I'm
So
gonna
we'll have to
answer here.
find new construction or
Yep.
something to figure out what year it's actually from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to answer a quick question from the Jipo here on Twitch. Sometimes when I play multiplayer, I wish for a unique server because my friends are in other region servers. Not possible to share servers, but having other people visible together. Yeah, so basically you're saying kind of like the VATSIM network, where even if you connect to the closest server to you due to ping like North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, the backbone would still connect back. Sadly, that's not the case here. You'd have to fly in the same region servers, but there's the good news. Even if you go on a region server that has a ping of 200 millisecond, that is far away from you, the whole experience is not deteriorated in any way. Like, it's you don't see huge lag. You don't see things wrong. Like the ping is not affecting your playing experience in multiplayer, even if you fly pretty close to other planes. So I wouldn't be too worried about this, and just join whatever server your other friends are up. Especially if it's North and West Europe, it's really close to each other, so I don't feel like it's going to have that big of an impact for you. But yeah, there's no way to connect people together. I actually thought this was going to be how they were going to do their multiplayer server at first, where there is still the backbone infrastructure that connects together behind, and then you each connect to your own region servers, but visibly not. Now they are working on getting groups to be bigger sizes, but we don't know about that. Like,
I
I don't
think
know,
it's not.
did you guys try groups recently, like File and others?
I heard that they were increasing it because I know the maximum right now is 6, but I did hear that
Yeah,
they were
that's I.
increasing them.
Yeah, I kind of heard they were
But did you
going to
guys like
increase it, but
use
again,
them recently? Because
no,
I
I
haven't
haven't.
used
No,
groups in ages.
I haven't.
I did use groups the other day.
Because like I do wonder if that you join a group and you try to leave, but it's the owner that has to kick you, or like you have to join back to leave because it doesn't make you leave properly. There's certain bugs like this. I just never wanted to get into this because sometimes it kind of locks you into something and then you can't be in the multiplayer with everyone.
When I did it, the other guy started the group and he invited me in, and we just did some stuff, and then after that we disconnected. And when I came in, I make sure that I wasn't in a group again.
Yeah. I mean, the Jepo, and I'm sorry if it's G or G. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I agree with you that the issue is the others. You have to be in their region servers. And if you're in the world map and they are in the sim, you can zoom in on where they are and you click on their names and you'll see, what region server they're in. And if you want to spawn on them, it'll automatically switch you to that region server. So I guess you have to agree beforehand on the region server you want to be on.
Yeah,
And that way you could all be
they all definitely have to be in the same server
Yeah. Man, look at
to
this
see each
island.
other.
I was going to say I was
It's
just
like
about to
very
say, wow,
flat.
it's got some cool looking terrain here.
It's like
The
someone
gem.
sat on this with like they put a piece of wood and they sat on it, and so it flattened out all the these sections, these ridges. It's like they're all
We're
Sure
not
flat.
going to
hope
land on one of these. Come on.
I know, right? We should.
I feel like this is gonna be a bad choice, but why not? I mean, it looked pretty fine as well.
I think the runway's up here pretty close too, so I might have waited too long to. Hey, if
And on top
anybody has the idea that hey, they want to try something, land on some winding road, shout it out, and we'll all those that want to do it,
I'm
we'll
gonna
join
try
you.
this right here.
Yeah, I think I'll.
The Jepo, it's not possible to see other people in the VFR in sim map.
Let's see. Let's
So
try it.
this map here, you won't be able to see other people. That's something that I wish could change. In fact, there is a forum thread that I pushed out to some developers to get them to speak about what the requirements are in the forums, and one of them was with Little Nav Map. I asked the developer of Little Nav Map, Alex, to write what his requirements would be to have third well, not third party, sorry, but like multiplayer information on the sim, so that we can extract that information. Wow, that was very smooth. Touch and go. A little too quick though. Let's do that. Slow down.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
at
a
the
little bit
top.
too high, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, slightly bumpy. Don't stop entirely like me, otherwise you'll probably be a little stuck. Elevation is a little high. It's like little waves almost of elevation. Like it goes up and down, up and down. So you have all these little bumps. A little strange. But yeah, so basically if we can get an API in SimConnect to allow us third-party data, then we could probably see someone with an add-on to put that into the VFR map that we see here. That could be a great add-on to have. Because then we'd be
Have
able
you
to see
seen
everyone
the
else.
transmitter app?
There's a bunch of apps of people trying to replicate this, not the transmitter one.
Yeah, it puts it into a little nav map, which is pretty useful if.
Oh, this one. Yes.
What trans?
I remember.
What transmitter app?
There's like 2 or 3 pieces of software that I've seen where they try to inject data from a little nav map, and it's like I think it transmits every 5 minutes your location in a little nav map.
Yeah, this one's actually. It's got to be every, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds, but it keeps everyone on the map. You can see them if they're all running it.
Yeah, they have to be running it. That's kind of a pain. GG to WTG Scoop and Dave here, Sky Dave. You guys managed to land on this and
Yes.
do a nice touch and go.
Yeah, I'm getting ready.
Yeah,
Jeppo,
that looks cool.
I'm actually using both Little Navmap and Valento right now, so yeah, in a
I
sense.
see Drachia up ahead. Hey.
Hey,
Hey, see him with
Taki's
the,
joining us.
Yeah, I forgot the time again. Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry, you're switching Sunday. You'll be back with us soon, at the right time.
This is really gorgeous over here.
Really
Yeah,
is.
these bumps are deadly.
Quite, oof. Yeah.
Have you guys
Wow.
flown over Reunion Island?
Yes. Quite nice.
Oh, that one's really
Quite
fun.
nice,
I
yep.
just found that one the other day.
Beautiful. I flew all the way out to Rodriguez there as a sidebar to my world trip. So I left Madagascar and went all the way out to
Oof.
Reunion and Mauritius.
Mauritius, yeah.
And
What
then,
was that, like a 2-hour flight?
Oh,
over water?
yeah, total. I think it was, yeah. Because
Wasn't that part of
actually,
your world tour?
Yeah, I have these weird branches where I would deliberately go out, because back in the day I used to do it in the old Sims with just an atlas, and I would try to
Oh, wow.
guesstimate based on the shift Z what it said my my latitude longitude was, and I'd try to find islands and see if I could sort of steer myself correctly without looking too much, but
Wow.
yeah, it was fun. So when I decided to do the world flight, I said, let me just add a bunch of these islands that I would have tried to go to. So Canaries, the Azores, Cape Verde, Christmas Island, Diego Garcia.
Oh, wow. You went really
Um,
everywhere, didn't you?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a spectacular view when you take off from the top of that hill. I landed and took off. It's
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
Look at
It's
Isn't it?
beautiful.
Well, that was
Yeah,
fun.
incredible.
Wow, this is a nice view straight ahead. Look at that. Wow.
These islands are better than what I expected, honestly.
Yeah, they're better than I remember.
There's
So-
more detail here than Hawaii.
Ye-
And Hawaii did get a world update.
Yeah,
I think it was World Update 2 or something, so...
It's all down to the data, I guess. We can really tell
I,
It is
I
the
wonder.
the
data.
difference.
I wonder, since this is so close to Portugal, whether they included this as part of the Portugal update.
Doubt it, but
I was hoping they would do a little bit with the Azores because they're so beautiful, but it's
there's not
hard
many
to
points
get
of interests here, so...
data,
I feel like they would have probably made at least 1 or 2 with, like, the volcanoes or,
Yeah.
something around the island.
Tenerife, they could have done the airport.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just probably pretty far, too far. Yeah.
Oh, wow, the airport is exactly
Yeah.
where I want to be.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Just sort of manipulated the heading and
Of course, there's
myself
all
around.
those trees just before the runway. Classic. It
You have to
really
gain
looks like it's on
some-
purpose.
yeah, of course.
It looks
Doesn't it?
like it's so, like, God,
Like
look
there's
at
some
that.
algorithm that's just suddenly putting them there.
It's
kind
so
of
on purpose.
crazy,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna fly over it because I wanted to take a screenshot of that so I can I can send that and show like, look, it's on purpose.
You know, one thing we need them to add is the Sims are bulldozers, so we can level out the top of some of these
Yeah.
mountains. You know.
Just
Well, I
need
think
a
with the
big, clear-
scenery, maybe what's going to happen with the scenery gateway, if it does what I'm hoping it does, which is that it allows people to submit changes to the sim that would be on the streaming side,
Mhm.
so that if they fix airports, or let's say they do an upgrade to something that is so good that Microsoft approves it, that it would just go into the base world wouldn't be something you'd have to store on your hard drive. It would just come through to us as part of the streamed world, so that imagine some people might really have a passion for a certain area, and all the airports that have the trees that aren't correct or whatever, as long as they submit something that shows that it's accurate. So
It's
obviously you can tell if
actually
it looks good, but if you can,
crowdsourcing.
yeah, it'd be kind of. And then of course you're not filling your hard drive with every single update that all these people do. It's literally becomes part of the scenery itself. That would be awesome, I think.
Yeah. Now the difficulty with that is we don't have much information on this.
No, we
Like
don't.
the sad thing is the scenery gateway was announced, and it was, like October of 2020, I think, when they really first announced it. And over a whole year, they were basically saying, "Yeah, we got it, we got it. We have a dev on it," and then the dev left, and they got a new dev working on it. They got a prototype working, and in the last Q&A, not the one that we got early March, but the one. Sorry, not the one end of March, so the one from yesterday, but the one from early March. See, it was way off. In there, they did say, we're pretty much ready. We're on testing grounds. So they had a couple of partners to test these things and get it, to make sure everything was all right. So I was almost expecting in this Q&A to hear, hey guys, we're getting the scenery gateway on maybe beta for only a select number of devs, so we can try it with the community and see how it goes. And we didn't get that. And I think that's when we would have been at the perfect stage to hear more about how they decided to make it work. But yeah, Farrell, I totally agree with you on that. It should be something streamed.
Yeah, would be really great if it's streamed, because obviously we would easily fill up our hard drives in no time at the rate that the whole community could doctor up stuff. Go ahead, Captain.
No, I was going to say these are awesome views when you take off from this area.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
magical.
I'm thrilled that it looks better than I remember. So
I'm flying an outside view just because of that, because I wouldn't be able to see it all in
yeah,
the
these
cockpit.
valleys, these crevasse-like valleys they have, it's just brilliant.
It's like mini canyon.
This last airport that we
Whoa.
took off from, that we did the
Who's
touch and
that?
go at the end of there was a nice city.
What do you think?
Oh,
Of course it's you.
Yeah, how did that happen, right?
What plane are you? Is that the GB?
GB.
Yeah, it's GB.
It is. Good guess.
Guys, we need some
Only plane
altitude,
like
by
this
the
can
way. So if you guys want to get up and over.
We're still over the island.
Oh, you guys are okay. Sorry, I'm out a little bit.
Yeah, we
but
have-
if you look ahead, you've got some pretty high terrain. That's if you're on the flight path, it's gonna need to get up and over it. So just to let you know, start climbing now.
Yeah, and we got Nita Raider that joined us in the Kodiak. That's really
Hey,
nice.
nice. Oh yeah, the Kodiak will get you right up and over that quick.
Hey, look at that. They even have wow.
Reset expander.
They have all
joined
these
us.
things in those little.
Yeah, you know what that
It
reminds
was.
me of? If anybody's seen Saint Helena in the South Atlantic, the main Jamestown is this very narrow valley, and I think it's like 7,000 residents. They basically almost all live there, and it's something like that, except the other side would be even more, steep on both sides, and all the
Yeah.
population is there in the middle. It's where Napoleon's house was, where they had him in exile. It's on Saint Helena.
Yes, that's
The
true.
island doesn't have great data. I've gone there to look. There is an add-on airport, and the airport had some famous, media coverage, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's the most useless airport in the world," and so on and so forth. But for 500 years, these people were only connected by sea, and it often took like 5 days to get supplies. And they're retiring that. They retired that mail ship. It's one of the last HMS ships in the world. And they're like, "Well, we need a way to
Get
keep
that,
these
yeah.
people connected." And there's such history there that the problem is there's terrible crosswind. But it's cool that it's in the sim and you can go, and there is an airport and it looks pretty good. It's just the island itself, the data is very low, because obviously it's in the middle of absolutely nowhere. So, but it's kind of exciting that they do often speak about how they want to do the world in its entirety over the course of every 3 years or so. So it would be really cool if if now this is the success that we think that it is, and that they seem to be hinting, if you notice every time they do a Q&A, they don't shy away from saying how surprised at the success they are and that it's a bit more successful than they
Yes.
even thought.
I have a couple stats for you if you
Yeah,
want.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Sure.
so first, at the very, guys, when there's a Q&A, listen to York at the very beginning, because that's when you get all the juicy details, and he goes over it very quickly, like super quickly, to the point where I listen carefully to those Q&As, and the first time when it's live, I barely hear it. But then when I go back and I listen to it, like, wow, there's all this information. So this time with Xbox Cloud Gaming, they managed to like incredibly, open up the flight simulator to an even wider population. And this simulator has the highest number of users in any month in any flight sim ever. So basically, yeah, I think we've reached over 5 million people.
Wow.
Probably, I'm almost sure of that just based on the stats. Where, X-Plane, DCS usually have very niche populations. And 80% of the people who have tried the simulator on Xbox Cloud Gaming are brand new to this hobby. So it's not people who are already flying in the sim. 80% is
Yeah,
huge.
that's a lot.
So those are little things, but it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely bringing in more people to the hobby, which in the end is bound to be great because it will inspire them to keep updating and even if they've got to spend money in order to expand the audience, like, getting scenery, they may have to pay for the scenery, they may have to hire aircraft to get photogrammetry that they want, but if it's doing as well as it seems to be doing, and that they're able to add, I mean, let's face it, we started at about 2 million in
And it keeps
sales,
rising. Sorry, I'm
but
gonna
yeah, if
cut
they're
you
up to
off.
5 million, it's like, wow.
The Geppo, thank you. He's gonna leave because it's late, but he's
Oh,
suggesting
okay.
us when we're on Lanzarote
Lanzarote, yeah,
to see the north coast and the land of Timanfaya. So 16th century, they had an eruption that covered a third of the island with lava there.
cool.
So
Let's
we'll
do
probably
it.
check that out. But thank you for joining, and thanks. Wow, this is perfect timing, right? Sky Striker 3042, thank you for the follow. It's
Thank
really
you.
appreciated.
On the road to 500, if y'all haven't followed us on Twitch, please
that's
just
And
take
true.
a second and hit
and
that follow.
speaking of adding, I noticed on the notes for this update that they added 1,000 new airports to the sim.
Yeah, like I
Wow.
looked at the forum thread because this update is funny, right? They had the world update posted first, and then later on they posted the patch notes, and also the list of all those airports is also posted on the forum. That also got posted slightly before, and then the world update happened, at the end of the day. So it was like a day full of postings at different times, which was a little strange. But yes, they posted all of those airports here. Thank you, the Jepo, for the follow. Thank you very much. Hope to see you around in the sim with us soon. That'd be nice. Maybe around. We do this every Thursday, so maybe next Thursdays? Fingers crossed. See ya. Yeah, so, like, this is the thing, right? There's all those airports in the sim, and before the sim came out, there was this advertisement, marketing. There's 41,000 airports. There is not. We're at like 39, 40. So we're kind of there. So it's nice that they add more airports. Oh, the Jepo is from Milano, in Italy.
Nice. I was there.
I think we did a flight down there, didn't we? A while back.
I think so,
Was it
yes.
Milano that we went through? I don't
We
think so.
did
But we need to do that. I
Côte
think there's.
d'Azur, and it started in Italy, and
Oh, we did that. Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
the
the
other
next
one.
um,
the next update is supposed to be Italy, I think.
and you know what? I think some of the Italian data is already very good. The Venice looked fantastic. Naples looked fantastic. Rome looks really good. So I
Yeah,
just can't imagine what it's going to look like with
exactly. And it's going to be
even
even
better. It's
better
like, wow.
because World Update 9, as Captain said, yes, it's the next one. It's Italy and Malta, which is going to be amazing. But it's going to be the biggest world update yet, with 18 what York called AOIs, which is essentially photogrammetry areas. So he mentioned 12 cities and 6 suburbs. a total of 8,000 square kilometers of photogrammetry, which is bigger. Australia was only 6,800. So like that's going to be insane, the amount of data that we have. So yes, Farrell, we'll be able to make a flight plan
Oh, for
and
sure.
go down there, go visit the
Yeah.
Jeppo. Maybe that could be fun.
Let's do it.
Hey Jeppo, if you're still with us, if you have a flight plan you'd like us to fly, feel free to send us a DM on Discord, or right now, or some other Thursdays on Twitch. We'll be happy to get a flight plan with you around
Sure.
Milano in Italy for the World Update. There's
Do a
too much
little
stuff to put in the city. Yeah,
Lago Como and go in the Italian Alps a little bit. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah, Italy is beautiful. I've been to Italy
Yeah,
several times.
very beautiful.
it's funny because I've been so many times in the French Alps and Switzerland, but I've never crossed just the other side to get to the Italian lakes. Those
Oh, they're
beautiful
beautiful.
areas, and yet so far yet so close. That's kind of like that feeling. I feel like I'm gonna have to do that at some point. Just drive down there, take a couple of hours, and visit the area
Yeah,
because
spectacular. Really
gonna
beautiful.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna be mind blown by this one.
Yeah, I lived in Munich for a year, and on the weekends, Italy was one of my favorite places to go.
Well, you saw when they did the Q&A, and the moment one of them said, "Italy's such a beautiful place," they all three nodded like in unison. They were,
Instantly.
and I think Jorgis
love
mentioned it
that.
a few times, and I was like, he's a big fan of Italy. You can tell.
Mhm.
So it's nice that
And-
we're going to be getting at least, who knows, maybe it's 2018, 19, 2020 data. He said not 2021, but who knows, maybe it's 2020.
Well, I think it takes a long time to go through all that satellite imagery and massage it and this.
It is, but they started working on this quite early on, right? They usually, I think their turnaround for something like this is 4 months, maybe 5 months.
You know what I think too? I think the unexpected success of it has driven Microsoft to really turn to Bing and say, "Hey, we need." So I think maybe,
You need to climb a little more.
yeah, I think maybe
Getting really
they've
close
been
to the volcano.
inspired to. At least I'm hoping that the data will be coming a little bit more quickly, so that. Sorry, I'm turning a little bit too. Oops. I want to cross over on the other side of the island.
And
You
I'm
guys
climbing
are
like
over.
crazy here. I'm at like 20.
Oh yeah, you're
2,000
definitely.
feet per minute, just trying to make sure. Because you know what?
I think we're good.
I'm gonna try to make this a little more here. Look at that! Wow.
Ooh,
Hey,
maybe
I think the
wanna
clouds
make
here
it-
are the smoke. That is definitely not just a random cloud. Look at that. That's
Wow, that
actually
looks
pretty fun.
great. Yeah.
It's like either the cloud is very well positioned, or they actually put smoke in there. But I
I
doubt
got a
that.
huge one in front of me with the mountaintop hidden, so I don't know if I'm at the right
Well, I'm
altitude.
at the
but I think I
mountaintop.
better climb. So
And this one's the famous one.
yes.
If you turn the inner wheel of your GPS, the bottom right knob, you can get the terrain display that'll color code it based on what's close to you or below you.
Say that one more time for me.
So the inner knob on the bottom right of the GPS, turn
Okay.
that to the right, and it'll switch. There's a few different maps. I don't remember how many you have to go. Actually, I can see it. It's the third one, I believe. If you look at that, like where it says nav and then has the pages at the bottom of the map.
Yeah.
Turn
See,
that, you'll get the terrain display.
My ski lift add-on
Yeah,
here that's used for the first time.
My altitude's already insane. I'm just not quite climbing enough. So
Oh wow!
yeah, I must not be pushing something right. Give me a second.
Are you?
to-
Wait, we could look.
I
at
just
your
want to
screen.
clear. I just want to clear the terrain. So,
Are you looking at your GPS right now, or
excuse me. No, I am trying to adjust the
survive?
terrain so I do not hit
Pull
the
up,
cliff.
pull up.
Yeah, I'm just
We're
gonna.
watching your screen right now.
Yeah,
Frame
I'm
rate's
just.
not awesome. Don't worry, guys. I know it.
It's so weird. I don't know why that
But-
does that because mine is as smooth as.
Oh, I know. It's
As
either
can
your
be.
upload, my download, or some kind of weird stuff
Well,
in
we're
the
gonna
way.
survive now, but let me take a
Yeah.
screenshot.
Yeah, that looks
There
really
you all
nice.
are over there.
I'm all the way up here. Hi, myself.
I see you. So now I think.
And look, you're right there.
Uh-oh, just screamed at me terrain, but I'm plenty
Look
high.
at this. It's crazy because every time we looked at
Oh,
volcanoes,
it's so
we've
beautiful.
always seen, you know, the area that's close to a mountain, other kind of like higher peaks without being the highest peak, and the distance between the volcano and the other peaks around it. There's always beautiful
Wow.
colors, patterns, shapes. Look at that.
Yeah, the drop
You
off over this,
you
I'm
could
just
you could
about to go
totally
over
see
the
the
edge
lava
and
flow here.
yeah, that's so brilliant.
Gotta give
I've
it up
been
to Microsoft for that.
speculating aloud because we saw a few comments about this as they're talking about X-Plane. And the funny thing
Uh,
was, I thought, well, a lot of people that are really, really waiting for X-Plane, they might be more into the aircraft than, let's say, the scenery. But I did read one thread, remember, Cookie, you and I read it, and some
yeah.
of them were like really complaining about the scenery. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's Microsoft Flight Simulator driven right there because in the
Oh
past, they
yes.
probably would have been like, it's not important. And technically, unless you're flying in terrain and you have a chance of hitting it and whatever, it may not be the most important thing. But in a way, it might be a brilliant move by Microsoft. I'm sure that they realized going in that Asobo hasn't had 25 years of experience with aviation, right? So there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be some learning on the job and some adaptation and trial and error. So to make the world look so fantastic, think about it. If you've got a competitor that's coming up behind you and they've got something that some of those people consider to be superior to yours, you're thinking, well, listen, it's going to take us a while to get that flight model up to what we want it to be, but we're going to make the world look spectacular. So when people jump over to our competition, the world is not going to look spectacular probably. And I think they're banking on some of those people being like, I like the fact the planes are more in depth, the systems, the dynamics, but I have a feeling just looking outside, they're going to be like, man, I can't take the way it looks. So in a way, I think the scenery may buy goodwill and time for Microsoft as they attempt to bring that flight model into parity with, let's say, X-Plane 12.
No, I think I agree with you. I think you're right.
I think that, and if it wasn't a plan, I think it would be a byproduct because it was strange to see how many people were. Now, those images might have just been mock up. It may not even be representative of what it's going to look like, but I don't think there's a lot of people that would expect it's going to look like what we're seeing now. And it'll be
No,
curious to
no.
see how many people that were like, I don't really give a damn about the outside. I'm all about, the airliners and the depth of the system. But it would be funny to see if that does become more important to the point because they've gotten so used to seeing this that it will be so jarring on the eye that it may
They'll be kind of
retain,
lying to themselves a bit.
yeah,
Like
or
I
it'll
can share
retain
I can
more
share
than
my
they
experience
expect,
with that
kind of.
because like when I was flying FSX and the trailers came out and then we saw all these videos and screenshots about the simulator, I started not to realize the graphic level of FSX, but more like I don't know. I felt like FSX graphics were trash, and it's a feeling, right? I was used to them. I've been flying FSX for ages, and yet suddenly it looked low quality, and and the last months before the sim released, I barely flew in FSX. I just didn't get that will. I don't know,
Yeah, I
Farley, did you
didn't
get
fly
kind of
at
that same
all.
experience?
Yeah, I didn't fly at all. A couple of times I tried a mission in Sitka
Hmm.
to get over the cruise ship and land on the island there, and yeah, it was it's kind of like what I was saying, even though I forgot all about it. But yeah, I couldn't look at it. Like, God, this is just ugh. You know what I mean?
It's just a
Because
feeling you
we
have
had
inside of
yeah,
you.
we had absorbed so much of the clips and everything that we were seeing, and then when you went into the old version, you're just like, oh man, it's kind of make a joke in music. Sometimes you hear a classical piece of music that's done by somebody. You think, wow, like an opera singer or something. Oh, she's the greatest. This actually happened. One of my friends loved the Phantom of the Opera, and she's like, oh, you got to hear, this British lady, Sarah Brightman, I think her name is. Oh, you got to hear her. She's fantastic. She's the best, and of course she's fantastic. She's an opera singer and she's world famous. But then somebody for my birthday, I don't know why, I had mentioned something my mother used to sing, and they bought me a box set of Maria Callas, famous soprano singer, like where Lucio Pavarotti was the great of the time,
Yeah.
recent past. She was the great in the '50s. It was a woman, and the shocking thing was the moment I heard the same song sung by this Maria Callas, that was the end of the other disc. It was unlistenable. It was like, this is impossible. This is a wreck. And
And it
God
doesn't
forgive
take
me because
much.
she's God forgive me because I'm insulting somebody that's a great singer. It's not that she's not a great singer,
It's the
but
comparison
when you
between.
hear the greatest, let's say, there's no comparison. There's just no comparison. So in a way, FSX was the same experience. Once I started seeing the advertisements, and some people were getting some previews, like Squirrel was showing the night lighting, and it just made
It didn't make sense to
you made the
continue
other
using
sim impossible
FSX.
to tolerate. It was like, wow, it's totally.
Hmm.
And I felt a little guilty, but you know,
I
can't
was
help
kind
it.
of guilty too because FSX is a tool I used for ages for ATC, just normal flight simming, IFR flights, and it was a lot of fun. And I've this is really how I built my aviation hobby, um, on top of pretty much my previous you know aviation history. The simulator is really what got me into learning more about specific planes. And so for me, it's like it's supposed to be a sim that I keep, in my heart. And yet, when this FS20 came out, or even before, every week there'd be the dev update. Well, I'd be downloading all those screenshots and categorizing them and saying, okay, well, this is what we have.
Yeah.
Is there anything that is unique here? Is there something that they're trying to show us that we don't see at first? And I did catch a couple of these things, and they're super interesting. But then, that I'm interested about, and you look and you find the details, and you're like, oh wow, they managed to do this and that. And suddenly, you're so uninterested in another simulator, especially the other one. So yeah, I
By the
agree with
way,
you when you
Cookie,
say,
this is the airport. I don't want to change the subject. I just want to let everybody
oh,
know this
this
is
is
the
the famous airport. Well, the infamous
yes.
airport.
So yeah, let's not derail it. But I wanted just in case anybody was in the beginning and wondering which one, it's Los Rodeos. So anyway, moving on. Let's stick to a happy subject.
Well,
Um,
I mean, at the
yeah,
same time, little
it's
thoughts for all those people that
mm,
tragically
yes, such a beautiful
left.
place, and there was, and very quickly an aside to it, the only reason why they all ended up here, there was a bomb threat at the other
Oh,
airport, and everybody had to divert. But anyway, let's go back to happy times. When we all saw, I'll never forget one thing when they showed what turns out to be the caravan, and it turns out that it was off the coast of Yemen. But when they first showed the ocean, because I've spent so much time flying, obviously islands, I'm flying over a lot of ocean, and
yep.
the ocean over time got better. Although I thought the color of the ocean, even from day one in FSX, was kind of weird. It was so strangely blue, and
Blue. Yeah,
some of it
too
was
blue.
really cool. It was very mirrored, but the point I'm making is when I saw the waves. Did anybody remember the little clip of Gibraltar they showed? It was kind of like almost like a thunderstormy,
Yeah.
almost nighttime, and they showed the waves going on the beach, and I was like, that cannot be. That can't be.
Ooh, very
It
smooth
can't. It
landing.
can't be the
99 feet
real
per minute.
ocean. I just couldn't believe. Or then the next thought was, it took me 6 years to get FSX to run the way I wanted.
Full
How on
stop landing.
earth am I going to run
Gonna do a full stop
this?
here.
It was such a dream that the job they did on optimizing is unbelievable
Well,
because
just the difference in technologies, right? Like
yeah,
if you compare right now what we're seeing for the next version of X-Plane versus what's currently in FS20, the ability to optimize stuff using the latest, I mean, the techniques from the last 10 years in pretty much the gaming history, there is clear differences.
yeah,
Like the thing is, if you look right now at my shadows, you say they're not really great, right? It's kind of grainy on the edge. It keeps, jiggery. Okay, if you're really into the details, it's not too bad. It could be much
right.
better. And the more you zoom, the better it gets because it knows that you're looking at the shadow specifically. But you see, basically, it's like they're optimizing by reducing the shadow, detail quality when you're a little further out. These are one little things. But we have shadows. because they're using these effects to kind of balance things out, right?
Yeah.
So that allows them to add shadows without destroying the sim and its principles and what they're trying to do. So it's on the rough side. Sometimes you're like, well, okay, there's some little artifacts or little things, but we get shadows. Like X-Plane, sadly, is left behind because they have a small team, and it's not easy to program these things. So that's where they're going to have to work hard, and I think they need to hire certain people that have worked in the game industry that can get proper PBR, proper weather, and integrate all this. And then one we saw, you probably saw that, Farrell, in the Q&A. There's this whole section when Seb basically started talking about all the different systems that and simulations that they were adding, right? And
Yeah,
that
I
was
remember that part.
impressive.
Yeah, and
I have to
I kept
say,
thinking, I wonder how this relates to, X, Y, or Z, and it was nice that he also referred a lot to
he said a
what
lot of
developers
things
would be able to. It was
to
like he was
use.
talking to us, but he was also talking to the developers, saying, "Hey, there's these
This is for
tools
the
that
devs.
were, yeah, it was for the devs." So it was
Like
like,
those were all for the devs, right? So
yep,
like these were basically teasers, some of which were coming for Sim Update 9 and over the year, right? So he wasn't precise on most of them, which probably means most of them will come later this year. Only a couple will show up for SU9. But like we're seeing like the CFD simulation visualization tool, which is basically like a whole like simulation, fluid simulation in there.
yep.
Um, they're also, and that can just be modifying, the config file for the plane, and then you can have a visualization that shows up. Um, so they have a debug for this. The forces display tool is now added and improved. There's a weight tool to display how like the flight model aerodynamics forces are applied. That was cleaned up and improved with much more detail for the developers to verify essentially how they are. They have a stall debug to help improve the stall, making sure it works properly, and use soft body simulation, like crazy. Plane makers can now use that soft body simulation. Actually, that was aimed at helis to measure like the spring force in the propellers, because everything kind of moves a little bit, right? Everything stretches or bends a little. It's not really big for planes. It has a small impact, which makes kind of a big deal. But yeah, there's that. Like so many things. Also, an air simulation where they're kind of going to apply the fluid simulation to the air simulation to improve all of this. So it's like a huge mess of there's all these little different simulations, and now they're just adding ways for developers to look at them and visually see them, understand how they work, and see the numbers, and see if the plane matches that. So that is technically, the world simulation, but at the same time, it's also the actual flight model because you can tweak your flight model based on the data that you get. So
Right,
I
right.
think that's a
So,
big improvement.
and he did make the statement, and we've had this discussion 100 times, but at the end, he said, and it's funny because every time Bjorg mentions it, there's a little bit of a
I'll move a little up,
maybe a
maybe, to
10%
give you a little space.
irritated. Irritated might be too strong of a
Try to
word.
get on the runway. It'd be a nice screenshot to get y'all.
Yeah, I'm pretty close here,
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna
unless
move a little forward.
I'm
It'd
gonna
be
go
nice to get
back
y'all in here.
into the uh-oh, I just heard you know who.
Oh, the cat.
Yes.
Warning, cat incoming.
He likes to play with the sync stopper. So I just heard it.
As always.
Okay, I think I'm on the runway here, right?
Yep, Eagle. If you want to join us, just pop yourself in between.
Did I
We'll take a
just only
screenshot.
notice now that we don't ghost each other when we're that close? I've only noticed now.
Hey, you're right. Well, the name tags still don't show.
Yeah, I
It's a bit
tried not to get too
bothering.
close just now because I thought, oh, I don't want to blot out
Look at that. That's
Captain. I'm like,
awesome.
wait a minute, we're all here. So,
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm just waiting. Gusto's coming up.
oh, let me finish my point so I don't leave it dangling. That Jorg made sure right at the end. He goes, listen, again, I just want to make it clear.
Nice.
We're not making a game here. We're not
Yes.
making it gamey or arcadey. We are making a sim. And what I've speculated privately with you that I'll say now is that I think perhaps it is going to take a while. Once the sim is stable, I used the analogy the other day with you in a conversation about a house, and that you've got to get the foundations, the walls, the roof done. Then you're going to worry about, your insulation, your electrical, your plumbing.
Mhm.
Then you're going to cover the walls, and then you can begin to worry about decoration and design and texture and fabric and all those things that make the house your home. So I think that when we get to the point where we start to see the sim is pretty stable for most people on both platforms or on all platforms, I think then there will be more time and more resources to be able to really attack some of the things that we all may be saying, oh, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. You can't do everything simultaneously. And of course, again, the physics, there's a learning curve to it.
Look at that. I'm sorry, I'm just like,
No, it's amazing, right? Yeah, it's
like the buildings are not amazing because
but
they
they're
look
good enough though, right?
strange, but
Some of
like
them they're
still,
good enough. If you see them in passing, it's enough to give you the impression. If you
yeah,
don't zoom in and like, okay, let me stare at a building for 5 seconds and really take in. But if you're doing what you normally do in flight and not as a passenger, you kind of it kind of gives you enough of the impression. You know what I mean? That it's
yeah.
looking okay. Some of the office buildings are a little. I think some of the windows are a little bit wonky in that they're so crisply perfect that they almost look stamped on the side of a building. But
Hmm.
again, these are the decorations. In the flight model, I just think that it might take, God forbid, somebody's going to hate me for it. I think it might take the better part of 2 years to get from present flight model to
Yeah, no, I
a
agree with you on
strong
this.
competitive. And I don't think they want to come out and say, "Hey, everybody, we know the airliners. They're very difficult. It's a lot of work. Some of us are a little bit new at this, so we have to gain the experience along with keeping everything else going at the same time. We've been far more successful than we expected. So now we're speaking to 5 million people instead of maybe we thought a
Well,
million in the
it's
beginning.
funny
So
because I think they have most of what they need. What you can do is you can look at, and I know you've done it, is look at Asobo Studios' career section, and you can see, what are they trying to get right now. And over the last months, we've seen a lot of things. We've seen customer support, we've seen, 3D artists, uh, gameplay or generalist programmers, UI, quality artists, quality assurance testers, um, SDK, QA testers, things like that. But then we've also seen other ones like a game or a mission designer. That's interesting. Or, ATC and flight planning programmers. And in some of those, you see extra features, like they're saying you'll work on these things. It also says, also work on content that's not yet, announced. Cool things. And including, of course, an aerodynamicist programmer, a helicopter
yeah.
system designer, and a mission designer. And of course, sorry, I forgot the one below. Aircraft
Well, it
engine
just
programmer,
shows you there's an
autopilot,
intention.
aircraft
There's an
system. Like, they're hiring.
Yeah. Yeah, and they wouldn't be if they really didn't really care about the model at all. If they thought, well, the people that really need this extra level of perfection, there's not enough of them to to really. But I don't think they think this because
Or
why would you waste your time? You know, why would you waste your time and resources trying to hire these people if you're like, flight model's good enough. We're kind of catering to the new people a little bit more. We'll let the third parties bring in the really advanced aircraft, and everybody will be happy, and everything will be in a time frame that we. But I don't. I I just think the reason why they're not more specific on it is because it's going to take some time, and they don't want to come out and say, "Hey, it's going to take a couple years, probably, to get to the point that you envision and that you want." And they don't want to scare those people off or drive them to something else in the meantime. They want to keep the momentum and
Rolling.
they want to keep it rolling
I
while they're
mean,
adding to the
there's also basic marketing things, right? You can't say
yes,
it's not working.
exactly. You don't want to say something
Don't
super
give a weak
negative and
point or explain or, fanboys of everything but your product to bash you with, right?
right. Yep.
Especially with big products like Microsoft. And I'm sure, poor Jorg, imagine he says, yeah, we know aerodynamics are not good. Nobody would even do that. You're undermining your own product, right? So
Right. So there has to be a way
they
to
can't
manage.
say
Yeah, they've got to
they're
manage
bad.
the time frame to get from here to there. They've got to manage the time frame from here to there. making it stable, cutting down on the CTDs, making sure that most things can cross over to the Xbox, so you keep them part of it, so it's not just completely PC based for add-ons, which they're trying to do. And it's just time management, expectation management, but at the very least, York couldn't come out and say, well, it's we're not creating a game, we're not making it gamey or arcadey, and then 100% in the background say we're totally making a game. It's totally going to be an arcade. These people they'll forget about it. They won't. So
Well, they can't.
I don't
They
think that the reputation, especially now that there's so many people that are in and so much attention is being paid, I don't think they could go back on such a statement without losing some kind of.
I think it's also money side.
Well, yeah, of course. The money side, of course, is in the more casual new person because there's more of them, right? There's
And
fewer
speaking
people
of
that
money,
are.
speaking
Go
of
ahead.
money, they got to be doing great, money wise, if they're hiring all these people.
Of course. But yeah, and the fact that they want to hire these people, you don't need an aerodynamicist at this point to please the new folks coming in or
No,
the
the world
gamer
updates
people
are
that.
doing a great job at this already.
Right, right. And you've got Reno, which appeals to some people, and I think as soon as Reno will allow you to do your own private racing, they'll
They do
add
now.
some different courses. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
somebody said, oh, it's just this left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn. If they somehow could come up with.
Okay, I thought you were talking about private lobbies at first. That is possible.
Well,
but yeah,
I didn't
creating
realize.
your
Yeah, I
own
didn't.
game mode, like Orbex did one, which apparently
Yes,
is
they did.
much more fun. But you can do private races now.
Oh, that's good. I haven't. I still
Yeah,
don't
like
have Reno. I
CD
feel
does
bad.
that in his.
CD, I think every Monday he has races or
Yes.
something like that.
Lately, he's had a few where there's been some obligations, and I've missed. Like, there's been a few weeks where he didn't have it going. And by the way, anybody that
Yeah.
is
If you're
is
watching,
not familiar, CDL's got a great stream with his wife, Actual Gull, every Thursday. Tonight they're going to be doing probably they're on now doing
they
Dog is my
started
co-pilot,
30
and
minutes ago.
Saturdays they will be doing Saturday Night's All Right for flighting, and Monday they do Reno Air Racing. So they've got a lot of great content, a lot of fun.
It's
They do
crazy the amount
trivia,
of things
dad
they do.
jokes, all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah, I fly
um,
with them from time to time.
yeah, I'm gonna have to watch and see if I can when the races are on again. I just think it would
Yeah.
be cool if in the future we get some other courses. That way, it'll kind of for the
Horses.
people that find it monotonous. Maybe it'll branch out from Reno to
I think they have an exclusivity contract with that, so
yeah, they might.
they
Yeah.
probably can't just go to Red Bull, for example, and say, "Hey."
No, I don't really mean
No.
Red Bull, but I mean
But you can
if they
expect
could
third-party
create
devs.
if they could
start
create
working
their
on that.
own, let's say, not
If
not
you
labeling
purchase-
it like Red Bull Air Race, but label it
So,
something
like
else.
this has two sides to it, right? One side is the developers can totally work on this, and they can make their own stuff, right? Orbex has done that. They made their own races, and it's fun. I've seen screenshots, and I've heard feedback. People like it. The
Oh,
other
good.
side is it's a game mode, so it's pay to play, where you're limited by the number of people who are going to get this add-on or this game mode, whatever you want to call it. And so the difficulty comes back to, will it be successful enough for people to find other players to play against? And even for Reno, this was, or at least for Reno, from our perspective, the consumer, we were worried that there wouldn't be enough people playing Reno Air races to get matches with, at least 6 people and enjoy it, on an average day or evening. And sometimes that's the case, and that's why private races both help and go against the Reno Air Race, kind of initiative. It's because, yes, now you can do private races, so you can get everyone you want with you on, the races that you want to do. But you're also removing people from the main lobby, and so that number of people per hour in the main lobby is just going to decrease over time as people either get tired and stop playing,
That's why I think.
buy other products. So it's a very short shelf life sometimes.
So we're
it's very
hoping that
difficult
maybe
to-
they could toss in a few new things, so to speak, that would make sure that lobby
It's
got a little
difficult.
bit of love as well. It's difficult, but I mean, if you take a little time and be a little creative, there are ways to drive the attention in both directions. But I just don't know if it's something they really feel the need to do or not. But I want their expansions to be successful because the more successful the expansions are, the more they will create them. It extends the life of the sim.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time.
Speaking of races, I'm sure a lot of you guys know Two Tone Murphy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, looking forward to
Yeah,
his update tomorrow.
a couple of weeks ago, I think it was like maybe going on a month ago, he someplace in Australia, I think it was after the Australia update, he actually had NX Cup races at some racetrack in Australia, and if you got airborne, you had to. It was a car racetrack, and they raced around this car racetrack in cubs, and you got
Wow.
penalized if you actually went airborne. You had to then sit and
Oh, how
stop
funny.
for 15, 20 seconds. It was a blast. It was a blast to watch. I
I
didn't
talked
race,
about
but it
that
was
as
great.
well, but with helicopters. It's nice to see that he's doing that.
I'd like to. We have an add-on for a stall competition eventually. I'd like to get one of our plans and we can give that a try.
Yeah, that could
Yeah,
be fun.
this was right after the Australia update. I think we went by that big radar that's just west of
Oh
Sydney.
yeah, yeah.
And then I think it was not too far from that radar is some a famous racetrack.
Oh, right. Man, that is. It's a nice idea, honestly.
I
This
think
is
it's
the
at
kind of thing
Rutgers at
that
the
could be
airport,
worked.
right?
Yeah, and everyone is saying that they thought Two Tone was going
No.
to have a heart attack because they had never heard him laugh so much in a stream.
Oh, that's nice. That's really
It's
nice.
great to have. What
Yeah.
am I? What is the click point here?
Click
I'm
point.
afraid to click to see what's going to happen. Yeah, it's
Uh,
got a pointer right above the column in the middle of the windscreen where the flap
oh, I
indicator
never
is.
actually clicked this. Probably your
But
throttle.
oh, it might be, yeah. So let's not mess with it, right?
Click and drag and see if it moves your throttle a bit.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what it
your
was.
throttle.
Okay.
Because the
Very
throttle
good.
could be in that position.
Hey, I just
You throttle
discovered, I
up.
don't know if I think it was you that told me, um, that the column in the middle shows you what flap setting you have, which is
Yes.
quite convenient.
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
uh-oh. Stalling a little bit here. I don't know why.
It's this thing
Oh,
right
there we go.
here. Flap
Yeah,
0 to 40, and you get the little notch here that will move down. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a very neat thing, honestly.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that is nice. I never noticed that.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed it until he pointed it out. I'm like, oh, that's a feature I
It's
can
a
use.
little hidden, but yeah, it's instead of having to rely on, some kind of screen, Stream Deck, or, a hardware, you have to look at, okay, what's my flap setting? You could just look at right here. It's
Yeah.
usually in view most of the time. So, it's a neat little thing.
So far out, you're flying with floaters, and
Yeah,
we haven't seen you land on the water anywhere yet.
that's
Hey,
true. I haven't.
yeah!
Right. Maybe this. I'm a little bit slow for some
Get the
reason.
floaties in the water. Come on.
Yeah. Let me speed up a little bit, and I'll
Yeah,
do a water landing for the next.
I'm right next to you now. That's what I saw. I saw your floaters, and that's what I.
Yeah, I love an
Yeah,
amphibian
Alright.
because it
might
makes
as well.
life.
Oh, I passed you guys. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that it's on this side of the island, and I'm looking. I'm like, no, dude, it's on the other
No,
side.
it's the other side
Oh,
completely.
yep.
Like, you have to cross this thing.
Yep. So I need to gain a little bit of altitude back that I cut down from 10,000 feet. So
Yeah,
I'm talking
same.
and I'm not paying attention. Just what passengers like.
Professional
Well,
pilot.
I think he's
as long
flying
as
us to the side of a mountain.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
at
know why I always
5,000.
do
I'm
my
probably going to
aunt's
have to
accent
increase
when
to
I do that.
6,000.
I'm sorry.
But I like to stay pretty close to the ground. And these are beautiful areas.
Yeah,
A
this
lot
has
of
been a pretty plan so far. I'm glad.
Yeah, they must have a lot of protected areas.
You'd hope, right?
It's funny because I just realized that the first island we took off was El Hierro. And that completely got out of my mind because one of the stats that I had written up was that this island, El Hierro, is almost self-sufficient energy-wise.
Oh, from wind?
wind, sun,
Yeah.
and water. So probably tidal power.
Wow. Nice.
And I mean, they're kind of in a nice spot for this. They're basically like they can control everything here. So until we get electrical planes, then we can get fully electric, and that'd be very clean
Yep.
environment. Yeah,
Yep.
self-sufficient energy. They could all run on electrical cars because it's not like you need to travel 300 kilometers. So
Yeah, it's
you
true.
could
It's
just charge at the stations around. Planes, that'd be nice. It's a small island, so it's not expected to be, like a big A320. So they could get smaller planes like what we're flying right now. That could become electric in the future. So
yeah.
there's kind of a green initiative that can be worked at a small scale here and really benefit these guys. Kind of a
think
cool
I'm-
concept.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just see somebody flying, and this plane type is an LGEZ. Anybody know what kind of plane that is?
LEGZ?
LGEZ.
LGEZ. Ah.
Is it that little oh, what is that plane
It's a
called?
single piston plane.
Oh man.
It's the guy by Rat
It's like a
Man that's
Rutan.
blind.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Rotan or what is
Yeah,
it?
Rutan.
Yeah. I'm picturing
Rutan
it. I
Long
couldn't remember
EC.
the name. Yep, I couldn't remember the name.
It's a
man.
very unique plane. I guess I could show it off on stream for y'all.
Okay, that'd be good.
It's a very unique plane, I have to say. Like, look at that. You're pretty
Got
much
a couple
looking at.
seconds delay here. I'm looking at the stream.
Oh
waiting for it to
wow!
pop up.
Okay, yeah.
You see a
Oh.
very thin landing
Wow.
gear. The back looks
Oof.
beautiful.
I could just see me landing and snapping that poor nose gear right to the ground.
Hey, 2-seaters though.
Nice.
But yeah, the stability must be pretty interesting because there's very little. Like, the weight must be so far back that they had to get elevators at the front. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting thing.
Yeah, I recently bought that plane that's I don't know, it's from Orbix, that it's kind of like a helicopter, like a bubble in the front.
The Edgley,
Oh, Optica.
The Optica, yeah, the Optica, but I haven't flown it yet. I bought it, but I
Yeah,
haven't
no, what's
flown it.
interesting
Why did you
about
buy
this?
the Orbix one when Godfrancis released theirs?
Yeah, it's
Oh, I didn't know.
Don't go with the Orbix one. It's really not the quality you might be looking for.
yeah. You might really, and I think it's 50% off if you purchase the.
No, the Godfrancis was only the launch week. That's
Oh,
over
only
now.
the launch week.
Exactly. So it's
I
funny because it actually just got released on the marketplace. So it is $19.99 USD,
Okay.
available on PC and Xbox.
And what's the most important thing about it? For Cookie?
It has
Cats
a
and
dog.
dogs.
That's correct.
It's so
Decent
funny because
passengers for a change.
as soon as I saw that stuff, I was like, Farrell, this plane
That's
is for you because
Yep.
you did your tours, right?
Yes, I did.
How did you handle the weight of the plane? You
Well,
said
I
something
put
about
all of
cargo.
my pets and my family here and
Everything.
passed. Yep, I filled it with my mom and my stepdad, my grandparents, all my pets, and I flew around the world.
Imagine that. That'd be one heck of a year.
Oof.
As you just travel and explore areas and.
Oh,
do
my
that.
poor mother would have been apoplectic because I think I told you this story once before. She actually won a trip to Hawaii from a scratch off, like a lottery thing.
Mhm.
And she wouldn't go. And she
Oh.
found out it was 6 hours each way over the ocean. She would not go. She just had
She was worried
death,
that the plane would
she had a
crash.
deathly fear of. She wasn't thrilled with flying, but over the ocean, she's like, "How long from Los Angeles to what?" Nope. The end.
See,
of that.
this is where education is a key factor.
Yeah, we tried to
because-
tell her it's safe, and she's just like, "No."
Well,
I told
yeah,
you this story before. When I was a kid and I flew to England, she gave me this big hug. My stepdad's driving me to the airport. The last thing she said to me is, "I'm coming out the kitchen door to walk to the car." She says, "Don't worry, honey. I'm gonna watch CNN the whole day." I said, "Oh, what?" So you can say, "Oh, look, it's the fat one floating there with the yellow jacket, right?" Is that?
My God.
Because she thought it would make me feel better that I knew she was watching the news to make sure that nothing happened. But
In a sense,
and
it's
she
kind of
wasn't really a
nice.
scaredy cat of anything. It was very odd, but it was the one thing she didn't like boats.
Hmm.
I think it has something to do with the water. Actually, she didn't like being out in the ocean where you couldn't see land, and of course,
Probably.
flying over an ocean, she's just like not happening.
I
So
mean, this
poor
is something
mama.
where you can explain what safety measures are set in place, and it
Yeah,
also
how
explains a
we
bit of
told her how
aviation.
rare, yeah, how rare the
Well, it's not even
accidents are,
rare,
and
right? Like any plane that goes over a body of water must be well. That is, if you're a fair distance from land, you usually it's a 60-minute away from land. You must be ETOPS certified, which means an extended
yes,
range twin engine operation performance standards. Ugh, it's a mouthful. And essentially, that's a set of rules that are set for planes where you must have before. That's why we had tri-jets. That's why we had the DC-10, the MD-11, and the and all. I mean, there's only a couple, but it was still an era in aviation of tri-jets. That's why they had three engines, because they needed to be able to
yeah,
perform on two engines if
yeah.
a third
Before
one
they
died.
switched to two,
It's
yeah.
also a time of difficulty for airlines that needed to travel across the globe for very wide flights across the world. They needed to get through certain areas. That's why Anchorage, for example, was pretty popular. Flying over certain areas such as Russia was also one of those things that were key back then. So the ETOPS kind of dictated that, and as the engines got more performant, more secure and reliable, especially reliable, that's
Yeah.
when a lot of things started getting a little easier. And now you can run, twin engine operation without any problems. You can lose one of those engines and you can glide for a long period of time. So planes are much safer now than they were
Oh yeah,
before.
yeah.
But like that's why we had tri-jets. And like I don't know when your story happened.
Oh
You
yeah, it
don't
was.
need to
I
tell the
think it
date,
was.
but it was
Uh,
probably around that time,
I think
like
it.
70s
I think it was
probably.
80. Yeah, it was the early 80s. So I think because it was 6 hours, I would imagine it had to be a four-engine aircraft that went from the mainland out to Hawaii because maybe the tri. I'm trying to think. They were out, so I don't know. I have a feeling it was 747
Could be.
was the main
Yeah.
normal. I think DC-10 but you said what was it? 2 hours you said for a tri-engine from the
Well,
nearest
it,
place
it
to
it
land?
really depends on the plane, the weight, the wingspan, because that's how much you can glide
Because
for. And
there's
so
nowhere,
depending on
yeah,
those
there's nowhere
rates,
else to land. When you
well, you
depart
needed to be, I think,
California, there's
100. I think it was
yeah, there's
180 minutes for the tri-jets, because basically you could glide really
3
well. You had
hours.
an optimal glide path, which
Yeah, that
allowed
wouldn't
you
work. It
at
had to be a
cruise altitude,
747 then,
probably.
because because if you think about it, 3 hours you're only halfway there. You're only halfway out to Hawaii, and there's no alternate airport. So the only alternate airports are even further. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
exactly.
would imagine back then it was all 747. If there were any DC-8s still around, I don't think
Oh
there
man.
were though in 1980. I don't think there was very many. So are we doing touch and go here?
Yep. I'm seeing Draki right here
Yeah,
on the
uh,
runway.
trying to get the altitude down a little bit. That's one thing I've noticed. It's hard to lose altitude sometimes in the
I just
otter.
used the technique that nobody should actually use,
Oh,
which is reverse thrust. Just get a tiny
Oh,
how?
bit of reverse thrust, and you lose all that speed that allows you to drop
And then
altitude,
just put it back
or
on, right?
and then put it back on.
or
Yes,
Okay,
slip,
let me try it.
or slip
or
over.
slip,
Yeah, I
which
don't
is a
have.
more traditional and more reliable method.
Oh wow, I'm
It's
plunging
slightly
now, dude.
safer, but
Yeah,
Eh,
I
what's
mean,
the
what's
fun in
safety?
that?
Safety's boring. I'm kidding.
It's,
Yeah,
yeah, you
think
need to
rate,
define
think
the word
rate.
safety for me.
Just keep think rate, think rate. You're plunging towards the ocean. Think rate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I know.
Eh. Taki, I gotta say, are you using the VR version of the GB?
nope.
Are you using a unique livery that you downloaded?
No, just one of the standard ones.
How the heck am I not seeing you?
Yeah, I have the aircraft as well, so I don't understand.
I thought you were maybe on the VR version, which would make some kind of sense. But
No, but apparently there is something broken with the latest release of the last sim update.
I swear it looks so good
But
with these
there
aircraft.
is a reason. They're remastering the GB completely, so a new version will come out.
yeah, okay.
Nice.
It's basically they're planning on releasing the new version around the release of the Z and the 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
So we'll have 3
Captain.
GBs
Oh.
flyable, basically.
Nice.
Hey. I'm seeing Captain and File just landing on this side.
Yes, sorry about that.
Quite nice. Yeah, I'm gonna fly around this airport quickly because it looks beautiful there.
Yeah, it looks good. Bring up the gear.
Airports are not bad at all. Like this is. It seems like the jetways are gone and missing, but I guess you're gonna have to go
I
stairs.
think I might know why you can't see me.
Oh, never mind. The jetways are here. They're just very small and hidden.
Why is that? We can't see you.
I'm using the. They released an unofficial pack that they couldn't put on the
Oh, you're using
Xbox.
that.
It's with I'm using basically the classic GB one, but because it had
Flight Sim
City of
TO?
Springfield on it, they couldn't put it in.
Oh,
It's FlightSim.to one, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
basically
okay.
what there was in the old package, but they had to take out for the Xbox release.
Yeah, okay, that would make sense. Yeah, I'll get that. I need to get it. Because it'd be so nice to fly with a GBR3, you know, just flying around. It's such
I'll say it
a
again. I
unique
just think
plane.
it would be fantastic advertising if they could just somehow get permission to do the shell so that other people are flying around. And when you get close to an airport, you're like, wow, look at that plane. I love that plane. And you never either you didn't know it existed or you weren't sure about buying it. And then when you see
Yeah,
it in the sim because somebody else is flying it, you're like, I gotta go buy that. I absolutely think it would help sales because there's so many times I'll look over and think, I wonder what that looks like if I don't know what plane it is. And then you see it like what happened tonight with the EZ, and it's like, that's really cool. I think I might buy that. But if you're just seeing generic bonanzas everywhere, it just would be great if they could. I think eventually they will figure out a way, but in the meantime, it's a slightly missed opportunity, I think. So I'm hoping they'll get around to it. Just for their own sake, I mean. Oh, hey, nice. Thanks.
sounds
oh,
good.
thank
So, you
you.
know, we're also recording this, and it's on Twitch on our side. So you have all the replays there, and
Very good.
everything's recorded as well on our side.
It'd be
But
nice to have
thank
a
you
little bit of
for
YouTube.
joining us, and we'll hopefully see you next Thursday for
Yep.
another of those flights.
Same time, different place.
See
Bye.
you, man.
Bye. Have a good one.
Okay,
Same
let me
time, different
see.
place.
Well,
I like
sort
that.
of different place, right?
Yeah.
We'll definitely be flying somewhere else. You'll just meet up in the same place.
Yep. So